Hello, everyone. My name is McKenna Moran. I am the Campus Compact AmeriCorps member serving at North Central College in Naperville, Illinois. Throughout my service year, I've been working on two projects simultaneously, one working with Career Readiness Curriculum Initiative, as well as one expanding our community outreach, whether that be for our Career Readiness Initiative or for our Community Engaged Learning courses. To kind of get into the background of my service year, in 2020, North Central began the steps to implement a campus-wide career readiness initiative requirement. Through my first couple months of service, I was researching different institutions, how they were maintaining internship requirements, if they had internship requirements, what those looked like, how students were getting their career readiness, what type of career readiness students were needed, what schools were doing to make sure they were giving this to their students. We then were also creating a career readiness task force of faculty members to then which we were able to create a proposal. This proposal was then created or presented to the APPC and approved in March of 2021. This requirement would include two sections. 2-credit hour minimum career readiness prep course taken simultaneously with a 2-hour career readiness experiential course. Simultaneously, while working on that, I had been working on maintaining communication with our community partners. North Central College has struggled with having kind of a directory of where we keep all of our community partners and information about them. So with the Engaged Learning Facilitators, I had been working with engaging community partners as well as creating this informational directory. But going back to my career readiness experience, specifically with anti-poverty, because we are so in the beginning steps of this process, it has been a lot more of data collecting rather than actual evidence of how we're gaining career readiness experience for these students. But my research has included talking directly to alumni, specifically first-gen low-income, international, or any other students that had barriers throughout their time on campus, just to see what their initial thoughts about this career readiness opportunity was, what they felt their struggles would be as students when they were here if we had this type of requirement. And I'm hoping in my next service year, because I will be extending at North Central College for another year, in the beginning steps of my service year starting in the fall, I'm hoping to have a structure of how I can deliver this to faculty just to make sure that they all understand also what our students are going through. When thinking about career readiness capacity building, I'm also using that data while to represent our low income and students with obstacles and students with barriers. I'm also using it because they also gave insight on just how to structure this program in general and how they feel they would benefit from it, what they would exactly be looking for in a prep course, things like that. So I will continue to save different quotes and different data from all of those students and use this when we continue to create skeletons in different departments for the future. Continuing on with the data collection, I have shared some of the quotes that I received from students. These were ones that were very similar to other ones that I've gotten in interviews, or just some that really stuck out to kind of the work that I need to be doing and that I'm going to be doing continuing on. I'm going to read just a couple here, but one of them was, we have to understand the different communities on campus, first and low income, international, etc. Each of these communities has a different obstacle and a different barrier blocking them from these courses. This is really what I need to focus continuing on throughout my service year, is just making sure that each student is represented, that each student's barriers and struggles will be understood and supported rather than just continuing to struggle and them feeling like they have no outlet of support. So that's something huge that I'm going to continue to work on throughout my service year. North Central seems to really only prepare us to go to grad school rather than preparing us for the job market or what we can use our degree for. While this one was a very blunt response, I really liked the honesty, and it really gives me an idea of what students are going to be looking for when they enter a prep course. Because grad school, while a valid option, is not the only option. So I want to make sure that our prep course kind of touches on the different opportunities that students may have post-undergrad, AmeriCorps service years, for example, grad school as well, but also just entering the job market and making sure that they feel prepared for that. Before graduating, I didn't really know what my options were with my degree. There was a lack of involvement and communication with faculty and career services. For students who are first gen, this process needs to start earlier. This, while it touches on a lot, also provides us with an idea of when we want to structure and that huge question of when would students be required to take this. Through my interviews, a lot of students felt that junior year in their undergrad would be the best because it's not too early. Sophomore year, you still have 2 years of college left. You're not really thinking about your career. But junior year is kind of that perfect time to start put that into your brain and to kind of continue that career exploration. So we are still collecting data from NCC alum, and hopefully in the fall we'll start to do students when they come back to campus. I do think the alum are a perfect opportunity to get this skeleton started and to have these big questions answered so that when we do interview students in the fall, we might have more of a layout of what these courses will look like for different departments and just all around at North Central. Now, looking at my capacity building for community outreach, this semester, the Engaged Learning Office, which I work under, has taken a hold of our community engagement. So this has included me reaching out to community partners and potential partners to collect data about how they'd want to be involved with our students. I created a spreadsheet with the type of work the organization has, the needs that they want volunteers to be meeting, how students could be best involved, and specifically what type of volunteering they're looking for. Are they looking for a maybe once a week or maybe once a month type of volunteer, someone who just comes and goes, or someone who wants something more long-term, like a couple months or something that's more like an internship. So not only will this directory assist and create sustainability for faculty members doing these community engaged learning courses and looking for specific needs that they're trying to meet for their course and some like a nonprofit organization that meets their requirements, but also gives us opportunities to create internships with these organizations and to communicate these to our students who can then take a part of this, intersecting our work with this career readiness requirement. Some of the challenges and recommendations that I have had throughout my service year, the first off is just making sure that students have an equal opportunity to access an internship. My recommendation for my next year is, while continuing to talk to alum and students, is to also work with department heads and first gen premier scholars, students who work full time, as well as the international office to gain understanding of what each unique group on campus needs and what they'll need from this career requirement to make sure it's as substantial and as effective as possible. We also need to make sure that the timeline and the requirements accessible to all students and that students do not need to be financially set back to participate in this opportunity. So trying to figure out how that looks on an individual basis. And if that means students taking it in the summer, if that means students taking it earlier, these are still conversations we need to have as we are just still kind of in the forefront of creating this initiative. When looking at challenges with our community partners are very eager to participate with us, but also scheduling is a very huge conflict. So just making sure that we keep engaging with our community partners, making sure they know that we are there for them, that we want to assist them, and whenever they're available, and kind of working with them to expand our connections and to work on creating these internships and continuing to have these long-term opportunities to work with community partners and have these long-lasting relationships. Well, thank you so much for all of your time. I will see you all at the live Q&A. Thank you so much for listening.